All right. Hello and welcome everyone back to the Collective Minds podcast. This is an interesting and weird one. Was scrolling through some social media and one of these little clickbaity articles, but I guess it's actually a thing. So, Argentina 128-year-old man claims he's Hitler. Yeah. An allegedly 128-year-old man in Salta, Argentina has announced he is in fact former Nazi leader Adolf Hitler. It has spent the last 70 years in hiding. While his claims stretch the bounds of believability to breaking point, they coincide with the discovery of a trove of Nazi memorabilia in the country. It's always nice when that. One coincidence, guys. Let's hit it there. Speaking in an interview with local media, the naturalized German immigrant explains he arrived in 1945 with a passport, allegedly a forgery produced by the Gestapo at the conclusion of World War II, identifying him as Hermann Gutherberg. So, at least he got that point right, because they're going to say this guy's crazy. Honestly, I've been doing a lot of videos lately about things that, to me, even seem crazy. But, naturalized, German, right? Immigrant, and that doesn't mean anything. But, if this is some crazy old man, at least he's got that fact straight, right? Because they're going to go, he's crazy, dementia. And also, I wonder, too, if this could be, for instead of just throwing it all away and saying this is absolutely insane, is if we could go, this guy could be a victim and could have been used like some MK Ultra stuff from back in the day, right? Where they made him believe he was, just in case. Maybe he looked enough like him and they made him believe, like, that he was, or something along those lines. Just needed a little passcode in there in the brain. And he'd say he was, and if he was captured, that's who they would, execute. It seems like a lot of governments have that. Body doubles are obviously a thing. Everyone goes, yeah, body doubles. That makes sense, right? It's when you get into clones or robots when they're like, but body doubles. And not a lot of people, I don't think, would sign up to get executed, especially for, Hitler. Just an interesting thought I had there. So there's the guy. Hard to tell how much he actually looks like, but honestly, kind of does. Not gonna lie. And this picture on the right of Hitler looks different than what you see in the videos of him, the old videos, and some other pictures. That looks like a really young version of him. Pretty crazy. He said he decided to emerge from his extended period in hiding as Mossad, the Israeli Secret Service, officially abandoned their policy of pursuing Nazi war criminals in 2016. Much of Mossad's early work involved the capture of former Nazis hiding in Latin America, with the kidnap of Zyklon B procurer Adolf Eichmann in 1960, a particularly famous example. He intends to publish an autobiography in September and restore his public image. Could you guys imagine if some old man in Argentina writes an autobiography about hiding for the past however many years? 70 years? Is that what it said? Claiming to be Adolf Hitler. And it's just in detail, like perfect. To where it makes people go, what the hell is going on? I've been blamed for a lot of crimes I've never committed. Because of that, I've had to spend more than half of my life hiding from Jews. So I've had my punishment already. I've been depicted as a bad guy only because we lost the war. When people read my side of the story, it will change the way they perceive me. Absolutely incredible. When you look at what's going on today. I'm not putting any coins in this piggy bank here. None. But I would definitely buy this guy's book and read it. This is so interesting. Absolutely insane. While mainstream historians universally concur Hitler committed suicide April 30th of 1945 in the Fuhrer bunker, Berlin, as the Red Army ran roughshod over the German capital, some alternative chroniclers have suggested the Fuhrer may have escaped to Latin America, as so many other Nazis did at the conclusion of the war. Interesting. In July of 2016, Abel Basti published a revised edition of Hitler in Exile. He suggested the fallen Führer fled to Argentina, where he then lived for 10 years. And I know I'm saying that word wrong, and I know someone's going to be on there going, it's this way. Don't care. Don't care. Before moving to Paraguay, under the protection of dictator Alfredo Stroessner, who had German roots, Basti says Hitler died February 3rd, 1971 in Paraguay. Predictably, few believe the old man's story, including his wife of 55 years, Angela Martinez. She suggests his shocking claims are the product of dementia, and her husband never mentioned Hitler or the Nazis until 2015. Right. Right when he started seeing the news that they were no longer going to come looking for these people. That lines up. That lines up. When he began exhibiting symptoms of Alzheimer's disease, what were those symptoms? I'd like to know that. At most, she thinks her husband may have been a Nazi who feels guilty about his past. Interesting. Okay. Or that's the cover-up story. His handler, maybe. Sometimes he would forget who I was and where he was. He looked like he was in a trance, and he would start talking about Jews and demons. And he'd come back to normal, she said. Okay. Nazi artifacts. Purely coincidentally, mere days after Gothenburg/Hitler made his astonishing assertion, Argentinian police found a veritable hoard of Nazi artifacts in a home in Becar, Buenos Aires, potentially the largest collection of National Socialist relics identified in the country's history. Items include a bust relief of Adolf Hitler, magnifying glasses in boxes, and a medical device to measure head sizes. Argentinian Security Minister Patricia Bullrich said some of the pieces were accompanied by photos, including a photo negative of Hitler with one of the magnifying glasses not released to the public. Are they trying to hint at this could be this guy's stash? Maybe he just doesn't remember. Authorities believe this was a means of making them more attractive to collectors, showing they were once used by the Führer. Ariel Cohen-Saban, president of the Argentine Jewish Association's delegation, said the find was irrefutable evidence that follows WW2. The doors were open in Argentina for top Nazi figures. So they know it. Local law enforcement agents followed the collector and raided his home on June 8th with a judicial order, finding a large bookshelf in his study that gave way to a secret passageway leading to a room crammed with Nazi iconography. Sale of Nazi memorabilia is prohibited in Argentina, as in many other countries in the world. Moreover, no mainstream auction house in the world will sell such mementos, and eBay has strict rules on sales. That's interesting. It's like Darth Vader, right? That's like who Hitler is in our world, in our timeline, in our dimension. If this guy's been dead for a very long time, bad guy, yes. But you can collect serial killer items. You can write serial killers in prison and have them write back, and I mean, they could write back in blood, and you're allowed to keep it. But not Hitler. That's very interesting when you really think about it. And then Argentina, yeah. I mean, all these countries, they have these crazy laws and rules that it's hard for Americans to perceive. But it's starting to look that way here as well. Certain things you're just not allowed to do just because. Even though you can find people that are just as bad or worse, and you can do whatever you want. When this guy said that he was hiding from the Jews, I believe him. Whether he's Hitler or not, I believe that. I feel like a lot of people are hiding from the Jews. And not all Jews. Not all. Not even most. Specific class. Okay? And so many reports. FBI, CIA agents explaining how these people work. Going in today. And they bring gifts. And the gifts have cameras and recording devices. Sometimes explosives, depending on who it is and what necklace they wore that day, and which way. Very interesting. So jumping on to the next one, I want to point out this. Started going into it, and I don't know if I've ever heard of this or really dove into it, but it's Die Glocke conspiracy, and it's allegedly it's so interesting looking back at the propaganda, right? But it fits with certain information that we know. allegedly we've had UFOs for almost 100 years, whatever they are, right? It's not, I mean, for those of you that subscribe to aliens, which I don't personally, but that's fine because I believe they're the same thing. Aliens and demons are the same thing in my book. But whatever it is, and yes, the fallen angels could have given what we call advanced technology, some people call it magic, whatever, to us through trades for certain actions. It makes a lot of sense when you look outside and watch what's happening in the world. Either which way, that we had this kind of technology like the one I'm using right now, the one you're using to watch this, possibly a couple hundred years ago. So, when the Nazi German scientists, or Nazi Jewish scientists, it seems, during Project Paperclip, they were looking at ways to beat each other or beat the others in so advanced that allegedly the war did have UFOs at the time. That was a common thing. It's just not reported in our history books. So this is called the Die Glocke, the bell, the Nazi bell. Purported top secret scientific technological device, wonder weapon, developed in the 1940s in Nazi Germany. Rumors of this device have persisted for decades after World War II and were used as a plot trope in the fictional novel Lightning by Dean Koontz. So, jump over here. That's allegedly what it looks like a bell, the Nazi bell. Let's see. Allegedly, an experiment carried out by the Third Reich scientists working for the SS in a German facility known as the Giant, near the Wenceslaus mine and close to the Czech border. Die Glocke is described as being a device made out of a hard, heavy metal, approximately 9 feet wide, 12 to 15 feet high, having a shape similar to that of a large bell. According to Cook, the device ostensibly contained 2 counter-rotating cylinders, which would be filled with a mercury-like substance, violet in color. This metallic liquid was codenamed Zerum 525 and was otherwise cautiously stored in a tall, thin thermos flask, a meter high, encased in lead. Additional substances said to be employed in the experiments referred to as light metal, LIGHT. Very interesting. Very interesting. I'll explain why. So, allegedly that the U.S. is using technology from UFOs, and one of them, right, to hide them. They can hide right in front of you. They're invisible pretty much, but that they are coated in a powder like substance that burns off or falls off as they fly. But it's completely heat resistant, completely, and super aerodynamic, and it's like particles, almost like ash on it. Let's see. Including thorium and beryllium peroxides. Cook describes Die Glocke as emitting strong radiation when activated. And that's another thing with UFOs, is strong radiation. That's part of that whole falling off, and wherever it crashes or lands or whatever, where it's been, everyone has gone and tested these sites, and there's radiation for no reason. Go watch the Skinwalker Ranch TV show. Yeah, they have it all over the place. Those guys can't walk around without getting radiation. An effect that supposedly led to the death of several unnamed scientists and various plant and animal test subjects. Based upon certain external indications, Witkowski states that the ruins of a metal framework in the vicinity of the Wenceslaus mine may have once served as a test rig for an experiment in anti-gravity propulsion. Here we go. Generated with Die Glocke, or Die Glocke. Others, however, dismissed the derelict structure as simply being a conventional industrial cooling tower. See, so they're not going to admit to any of this. If the U.S. gained technology from the Nazis, they're not going to say they did. It's not. Like, I'm not even sure if nuclear weapons actually exist. Like, the whole idea of splitting the atom might scientifically be impossible. Just like if there's a firmament and it's impossible to penetrate. But they're going to say they do it, right? They're going to say that they do these things, but there's other things I believe that they have not announced or made. Like, if we could go to the moon, why is a UFO or anti-gravity propulsion system so insane? Doesn't make any sense to me. Supposed whereabouts, statements along with the cook's views prompted further conjecture about the device from various American authors. Says that the device was considered so important to the Nazis that they killed 60 scientists that worked on the project and buried them in a mass grave. In his book, Hitler Suppressed and Still Secret Weapons, Science and Technology in 2007, Stevens says that the Die Glocke contained red mercury, which is also supposed to not to exist, and describes stories alleging that a concave mirror on top of the device provided the ability to see images from the past during its operation. Wadowski stated that Die Glocke ended up in a Nazi-friendly South American country. Cook, on the other hand, states that it was moved to the United States as part of a deal made with the SS General Hans Kemmler. Farrell stated that it was recovered as part of the Kecksburg UFO incident. This last theory was dramatized in 2009 by the Discovery Channel and again in 2011 by the History Channel's Ancient Aliens series. So, looks like it was in movies, books, songs, video games, most notably the Call of Duty series. So what does it do? Anti-gravity, ability to see into the past. I believe it's a time travel situation as well. It's one of the Nazi miracle weapons. Perception. Yeah, I love it. I love when they shut it down. Why not look into this stuff? Studies from the reservoir of post-war conspiracy theories heavily relies on sensationalist accounts, making of contemporary sources with post-war sensationalist literature half-truths and fictitious accounts. It's crazy because when these governments go to war, right? Like, who told us about technology just the other day when we go and steal a leader? I mean, not the biggest, most powerful country, but that 300 rounds a minute, only a few soldiers, U.S. soldiers go there, and everyone's wiped out, and people are bleeding from the nose, eyes, ears. And that's, oh, you haven't seen that before? Well, you should see what's next. That's the kind of attitude that the U.S. had. It's enough to make you take a second look. Absolutely. We should not be throwing all this in the dirt and just going, nope, it's BS. And Americans, and I think the rest of the world as well, has really been propagandized so much to control them. No one is allowed to think, and that's why there's this conspiracy theory, crazy people, and then they start having to do stuff like COVID and forcing these things, and then the Epstein files, and everyone's starting to figure out maybe it's somewhere in the middle. And that's where I'm at. Maybe all of this is somewhere in the middle where it's not BS. It's not completely true. But you know that whatever they're telling you is a lie. You know those history books that you read in high school was a lie. Now that you're an adult and can figure it out, someone brings it to your attention. What did they really have, and what did that war look like? And what did the world look like back then? You can still type in every major city and go, the Great Fire of. City was destroyed. Why was that? Why were things more beautiful back then? The whole blimp conspiracy, right? About how they were anti-gravity technology, not just gas shoved in a big balloon, and they were expensive to make. It was like they wanted to take a step back, like we had this technology, like we were the Jetsons not long ago, and now we're opening, the next iPad. Whoa. It's crazy. And I think it's ridiculous to think that some of this stuff couldn't happen. It's ridiculous to think this. I don't know about time travel, but anti-gravity, absolutely. I still believe we don't understand what gravity is. Still think the map's wrong. Not saying the world is flat. More like a snow globe. This is very interesting. And it feels like, too, that they had to do a lot of historical cover-up when it came to the Nazis, right? Where they talked about and released a bunch of files and expressed the power and abilities that they had. Like they were trying to expose a worldwide collaboration of hidden technology. That's what it seems like. Because everything about them is, it's propaganda, it's fake, it's conspiracy. But why would they do that? Because it sure as shit didn't scare anybody. Makes you wonder. Especially when we're all starting to figure out that it wasn't exactly what it was. But yeah, Die Glocke. Very interesting. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next one.